In Nara City, Nara Prefecture, Japan, lies the ancient tomb Tomio Maruyama Tumulus. At the end of November 2022, 2 national treasure-level discoveries were made here. The Tomio Maruyama Tumulus, considered to be constructed in the latter half of the 4th century during the Kofun period, is Japan's largest circular tomb. Inside of the center of this circular tomb, a shield-shaped bronze mirror and a serpentine sword whose blade meanders were unearthed from a protruding part on the side. Regarding the bronze mirror, whereas previously discovered mirrors were circular, this newly unearthed mirror is unprecedentedly shield-shaped. This bronze mirror measures 25.2 inches in length, 12.2 inches at its widest point, and 0.2 inches at its thickest. Its upper part resembles a shield with a rounded top. The back features artistic depictions of mythical beasts created in Japan, and a serrated pattern resembling saw blades, indicating high artistic quality. Additionally, this mirror, which skillfully combines thin plates and mirrors, has been hailed as a masterpiece of bronze craftsmanship. And the sword unearthed this time astonishingly measures 93.3 inches in length, 237 centimeters, making it the longest sword discovered from that era in East Asia. It's more than twice the length of the previously known largest iron sword from the Kofun period, challenging conventional wisdom with its extraordinary size. This sword, known as a serpentine sword, is an iron sword with a blade that undulates like waves. Believed to be domestically produced, like the bronze mirror, it has also been assessed as a national treasure-level masterpiece among metalworks of the time, marking a highly significant discovery that showcases the advanced production techniques of that era. Although 85 instances of domestically produced serpentine swords have been confirmed, this particular serpentine sword is the largest and oldest known to date. The reason why the serpentine swords made in Japan at that time have a snake-like shape is not well understood. However, there is a theory that these artifacts are related to the snake deity worship prevalent in ancient Japan and were used for ceremonial rather than combative purposes. On the other hand, the Indonesian kris, which has a similarly meandering blade, was used as a weapon, suggesting that the possibility of the Japanese serpentine swords being used as weapons cannot be entirely dismissed. The worship of snake deities has a long history in Japan. Since ancient times, with rice cultivation as the primary livelihood, snakes have been revered as gods who protect the fields. There are various reasons why snakes became objects of worship. Their shedding symbolizes rebirth, their vitality, and their role in preying on rodents that damage the fields. The form of the snake itself has also been regarded as a symbol of life and worshipped as a grain deity. Snake deities also appear in ancient Japanese history. The Kojiki, Japan's oldest chronicle written in the 8th century, details the emergence of gods and the birth of the emperors, mapping out the formation of Japan. While the stories of gods may seem mythical, up until the end of World War II, the ancient history described in the Kojiki was considered factual in Japan. The most well-known story related to Japan's snake deity worship is the legend of Susanoo and the Yamato no Orochi, which is recorded in the Kojiki. Interestingly, this legend highlights a deep connection between snake gods and swords. In ancient Japan, there was a deity named Susanoo. One day he encountered an elderly couple and their daughter. They revealed that they were forced to offer a sacrifice to the snake deity Yamato no Orochi. They revealed that they were forced to offer a sacrifice to the snake deity Yamato no Orochi each year, having already sacrificed one daughter each year. Yamato no Orochi is thought to be the deification of natural threats, and the daughters offered each year are believed to represent sacrifices to appease natural disasters through divine offering. Susanoo agreed to help the family and promised to slay the great serpent. When Yamato no Orochi appeared, Susanoo engaged it in battle and ultimately emerged victorious. However, during the fight, as he was cutting through the serpent's tail, his sword blade chipped upon hitting something unexpected. Curious, he split open the tail further and discovered a sword inside. This sword would later be known as the Kusanagi sword. The sword eventually passed into the hands of Yamato Takeru, the son of the 12th emperor and a hero of ancient Japan, and played a significant role in his exploits. Subsequently, this sword was regarded as a legitimate symbol of the imperial throne and remains one of the most important treasures of Japan, continuing to be passed down among emperors to this day. As this legend illustrates, in Japan, there is a profound connection between snakes and swords, reflecting a deep cultural intertwining of the physical and mythical realms. On March 27, 2024, the latest news was announced by the Nara Prefectural Archaeological Institute regarding the serpentine sword unearthed in 2022. They revealed that a unique fitting was found on the handle part of the sword after further investigation. The Institute, among others, carried out preservation treatment and detailed analysis after its excavation. The cleaning process to remove dirt and rust from this unprecedented serpentine sword was conducted with utmost care, taking over 130 days of manual work. As a result, new facts have been uncovered one after another. Initially, the sword, which was covered with soil and rust at the excavation site of the tumulus, led researchers to speculate. We have never seen such a long sword. Could it be a stack of swords? However, after X-ray imaging, it was confirmed to be a single sword, establishing it as the largest serpentine sword in the country. The cleaning process revealed that the sword was in a wooden scabbard. The wood of the scabbard was magnolia, and the total length of the scabbard reached 97.6 inches. The handle of the serpentine sword measures 15 inches in length and appears to be made from a single piece of wood. Additionally, it was found that both the scabbard and the handle were coated with black lacquer, and red pigment was also detected. Further findings include that the wooden handle, which curves at the end similar to the letter L, is fitted with a device known as a pommel, and a new discovery showed a protrusion on one side of the handle near the blade. This significant discovery shows the sword possesses features traditionally associated with both katana and swords from later periods. The L-shaped pommel is characteristic of later period katana, while protrusions on the handle are seen in later period swords. It's the first time a handle combining features from both has been discovered. The Institute stated, "This discovery is extremely important for understanding the lineage of sword and katana fittings from the Kofun period." Before the full-scale preservation work, a special public exhibition of this sword was held. The exhibition took place at the Kashihara Archaeological Institute from March 30th to April 7th, 2024. Approximately 3,500 people visited the exhibition on the first 2 days, March 30th and 31st, indicating a high level of interest. After the exhibition, full-scale preservation measures will be undertaken to prevent deterioration. Tumuli, ancient graves built by piling up soil, were prominently constructed in Japan for about 400 years, from the mid-3rd century to the 7th century. Those buried in these tombs were rulers such as chieftains of the Yamato regime, which governed Japan at the time, and magnates who ruled various regions. Tumuli come in various shapes, including keyhole-shaped, circular, and square ones. Currently, there are approximately 160,000 tumuli in Japan, ranging from large to small. Notably, the largest tumulus in Japan, the Nintoku Emperor's Mausoleum, is among the largest graves in the world, comparable in scale to the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt and the mausoleum of the first Qing Emperor in China. The 4th century, believed to be the era when the Tomio Maruyama Tumulus was constructed, marks the zenith of the tumulus construction. This period is often referred to as the blank 4th century, due to the scarcity of historical records from that time in Japan, leaving it shrouded in mystery. A major reason for this is that Japan had not yet adopted a writing system. Writing was introduced to Japan in the 5th century, coming from China. However, Japan had significant interactions with the Chinese mainland long before that. Rice cultivation was introduced from the Chinese mainland in ancient times, and during the 2nd and 3rd centuries, when the Yayoi period leader Himiko governed Japan, there were active exchanges, including sending envoys to each other. Therefore, the history of Japan during this period, without its own writing system, is only documented in Chinese historical records. While there are descriptions of Japan during Himiko's time in Chinese historical texts, there are no records of Japan from 266 to 413 AD. It's widely believed that the numerous tumuli across Japan were constructed by the ruling Yamato sovereignty as grand tombs for the ruling elite to demonstrate their authority to the people. Thus, the discovery of the bronze mirror and the serpentine sword is of immense value in learning about the history and culture of that time, as well as about the influential individuals buried within these tombs. A professor from Nara University, present at the announcement on March 27th, noted that while serpentine swords have been unearthed in various locations, they typically measure around 80 centimeters in length, and there are no examples exceeding 2 meters. It's hypothesized that the tumulus might be the burial site of someone associated with the Yamato government, and the distribution of serpentine swords to the regional magnates might signify their alliance, substantiating the possibility of such distribution as a symbol of alliance. Why, then, was a sword as long as 237 centimeters created? In the traditional Japanese unit of measurement, 24 centimeters is considered 1 shaku, and 240 centimeters equals 10 shaku, which also is defined as 1 jo. It seems, therefore, they aimed to create a sword of 1 jo in length. Chinese historical records mention that in the 3rd century, Himiko received 2 swords, each about 1.2 meters, 5 shaku in length, from China. The serpentine sword was made approximately 100 years later during the blank 4th century. It indicates that the people of that era in Japan had advanced their technological innovations enough to produce swords double the length of those received from China. This mysterious century is thus a crucial period in the history of Japanese swords, suggesting significant developments towards the creation of the katana, which would later gain worldwide renown. This era likely played a key role in evolving foreign-influenced swords into what would become the katana. The recent unearthing of this serpentine sword raises a fascinating possibility that the legendary Kusanagi sword, said to have been born from a serpent's tail, might have resembled this serpentine sword. It is noted that the actual appearance of the Kusanagi sword is unknown. Only a ceremonial replica is publicly known, while the real sword is enshrined at Atsuta Shrine. Even the emperor, the formal successor, is prohibited from viewing the actual sword, as it is believed that those who see it will be cursed. Therefore, no one truly knows what the real Kusanagi sword looks like, and its appearance has not been disclosed. This obscurity leads to the possibility that the real Kusanagi sword could share a similar form to this serpentine sword. Additionally, there is an astonishing record regarding Yamato Takeru, the hero associated with the Kusanagi sword. According to ancient history, he was exceptionally tall for his time, standing at 10 shaku, over 2 meters in height. This record remains part of ancient lore. But if he indeed possessed such stature and wielded a sword proportionate to his size, it's plausible that the sword he handled was larger than ordinary swords, possibly resembling the form of the serpentine sword recently unearthed. It raises the question whether, during the blank 4th century, serpentine swords were used solely for ceremonial purposes, or if they were also employed as weapons. The Tomio Maruyama Tumulus is a circular tumulus boasting a diameter of 358 feet, making it the largest of its kind in Japan. Located in Nara, the heartland of the Yamato sovereignty, it is believed to have been the burial site of a prominent figure of the time. Unfortunately, the top of the tumulus has been destroyed, leaving the identity of the person buried there unknown. Interestingly, during this discovery, a coffin that has remained intact from that time was also found beneath the sword and bronze mirror. Finding something inside the coffin could significantly help unravel the mysteries of the tumulus. Nara Prefecture began investigating this coffin at the end of 2023. By late February 2024, during the excavation of the coffin, 3 circular bronze mirrors, each about 7.9 inches in diameter and 9 lacquered combs, each about 5.5 inches long, were found at the foot of the coffin. The absence of iron weapons and the discovery of items such as mirrors and combs, typically associated with women, have led to speculation that the individual buried in the coffin might have been a female. Although it is impossible to investigate the destroyed top of the tumulus, if the person buried at the summit was male, it is plausible that the woman buried in this coffin had a close relationship with him. Himiko, the leader of the Yayoi period, who lived in the 2nd and 3rd centuries, is thought to have been a woman. She was considered a prophetess who communicated with the gods through bronze mirrors, while her brother directly governed the people as a political and military leader. It's possible that the individual buried in this coffin was a shamaness connected to the gods through bronze mirrors, similar to Himiko. Moving forward, the plan is to advance the investigation by analyzing the soil composition inside the coffin to scientifically examine the person who was buried. Furthermore, the discovery of the serpentine sword and the shield-shaped bronze mirror above this coffin suggests that placing these grave goods together served as a form of protection, warding off evil spirits for the buried individual. Archaeologists will continue to investigate these artifacts. It's hoped that further examination of the serpentine sword, bronze mirror, and other items will uncover more about the mysteries of ancient Japan.